G'day guys, welcome back to another episode, and this one we're taking a look at a little bit of Twilight Cup testing, so hope you enjoy. It's only early days and Twilight Cup has only just recently been announced, so when I'm testing at this sort of stage, all I'm really doing is just getting a feel for the Pokemon that I could potentially be using and how they sort of fare in battle. Some of the things I'll be looking out for are damage output, just checking to see how much damage its fast attack does and how much damage its charge move does. I also check out its defenses, so how much damage it takes from attacks. Then I'll also have a bit of a look at how quickly it's charging its charge attacks and making sure that, you know, they're charging at a decent rate and I'm going to be able to fire them off enough to worry my opponent. Once I've battled it a few times, I can then go back and have a look at its other moves in its movesets and see if I'd like to possibly change out one that I've already got for something else and try that out. I have a few mates from my local community that we battle each other a fair bit using the cup rules, and I find that's probably one of the best ways to give you a general rundown of how your Pokemon do in battle and how your strategies sort of hold up with this cup. One important thing I'd like to add here is the fact of not using too much of your Stardust and TMs in that before you've tested your Pokemon. What I like to do is just initial impressions, get the Pokemon out, throw it in a battle with the moves that it has, even if it's a couple of hundred CP under leveled, and just see how it goes. Just give it a real good test through a few different battles against a few different Pokemon, put it in situations where it's taking super effective damage and see how well it takes the hits, and after that I'll sort of make up my mind how well it did, whether I should invest Stardust and potentially change a few moves around or even buy a second charge move and go from there. So it's a good way of just testing things out with mates, saving your resources, and yeah, just pretty much going about things in a way where you're not just going to be wasting Stardust and TMs all the time. With Stardust being the most used currency in the game, currently we use it for powering up, trading, buying extra moves, so you can see that you really go through it a lot, so being smart with it and trying to preserve it as much as you can is going to help you in the future as well. When testing in these early stages, don't be too concerned about the outcome of a battle, and even so, don't even really worry about how your team's made up. I mean, all you want to do is test 3 Pokemon, just throw them into a team and see how you go. I mean, now's the time to test them, not in a tournament, so you know, don't worry about too much about what your team looks like in these early stages. Just get them out, have a few battles and see how they go. So once you start to narrow down your list and start to figure out the Pokemon that you potentially could be taking, then you can start to look at team synergy and the way that they're going to behave in a team. But this early stages is just checking out each individual Pokemon and see how they go. Another thing I'd like to add here is to make sure that you test your Pokemon in heaps of battles. Don't put it through one battle and assume that it's good or bad. There's going to be times where it's in a bad situation and it just can't do well. So don't let that be the determining factor of if it's good or bad. So make sure you use it in plenty of battles, put it in heaps of different situations, whether they be good or bad, and see how it fares to give yourself a real good indication of whether this Pokemon's going to be strong or not in the upcoming Cup. A couple of things I learned from my testing in the videos that you're currently watching now is that Alolan Muck did really good. Bite is a really good move. It's a really fast attack, it does good damage, and I felt like Alolan Muck could really be useful in the upcoming Cup. His dark and poison typing means that he only has one weakness, and that's to ground. His dark and poison have good coverage in the Cup, with the poison taking out Fairy and the dark taking out Ghost. So he's potentially someone that you may want to look at taking or even doing a little bit of testing with. To get myself a Muck suited for the Twilight Cup, it requires a little bit of trading and hoping that the IVs go low enough that when you evolve the Grimer, it's going to turn into an Alolan Muck that's below 1500 CP. So that's a little tip that you could use to get yourself a Muck for Great League, is just do a little bit of trading and hope the IVs drop down enough where it's going to make the evolution of Muck land under 1500 CP. Oh, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks heaps for watching. I hope you learnt a little bit and get testing for that Twilight Cup. So all the best. Cheers.